So, if you follow the community tab, you might have noticed that the backstory to me filming this video is pretty dramatic. Thursday night, I went to the hospital because I thought I had a blood clot in my right leg. Luckily, it turned out to just be a pulled muscle or something, and I'm fine now. On Friday, I was very tired because I got home at 1 a.m. from the hospital. And then today, on Saturday, I wanted to film, but a wasp very nicely came out of nowhere and decided to land right over here where I film, and very nicely guarded my camera and my lighting stuff for about 4 hours today. And I don't know how I managed to get out of here without breaking my equipment or myself, like my body, but anyways, I'm here now to spill some tea. So, I used to be a model, kind of, I guess. I really wish I was more confident in that statement, but as you watch this video, I think you'll realize why. I never really understood where I was in this story, because the way I was treated wasn't really the best. Not to be dramatic, but, you know, this story has made me leery of modeling ever since. And it was because I was scammed big time. To start off, a little friendly disclaimer, just a legal disclaimer, I am not filming this video to lambast the company, though I'd love to in person. I am just trying to raise awareness for people, if they're interested in modeling, to try to stay away from these scams, because it can get bad. So let's set the stage. About 7 years ago, my mom heard an advertisement on the radio. It was basically an advertisement advertising a local modeling agency, and it says that they need new models for like an open casting call or whatever, and if you think you have what it takes, then show up. So my mom comes home and asks if I want to go, and I'm hesitant because, you know, back then I was even more shy and awkward, but I knew I wanted to model, but I didn't know if I had it in me. But I just decided to go. So we get there and we head in. I take a seat in this back room that's already swarming with people. Instantly, I just want to hide in the back, like I'm just so nervous. But with my luck, there's 2 chairs in the front row, so we snag those. Thinking back on this room, I remember it being very dark and shadowy. I think there was like maybe 2 or 3 light bulbs that were very dim. Right away, I also start noticing that there's countless babies and little kids, and I start worrying that this was like some casting call for like little people, little kids, and I'm like the only 14-year-old there. But right when I'm thinking of bolting out of the room, like I don't see the point in being here, this guy walks out, he scans the crowd, and somehow makes eye contact with me. Now, without a word, he zips over towards me, kind of like a beeline. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's over now. He's just gonna tell me to leave. So he tells my mom and I to come with him, and I'm thinking towards the exit, that's where we're heading. But right at the last second, he makes a right, and we walk into an office. Now, there's a woman sitting in this office, and as we walk in, right away, she turns to me and says, "I think you'd make a great fit for this agency." Okay, maybe not as dramatic, and maybe not with those exact words, but it felt dramatic, let me tell you. All at once, I could see all these doors opening for me. I wasn't going to be this extremely shy girl who like hated being in her body. I was going to be like this extroverted, awesome person, all because I was going to be a model. So the lady skips the sales pitch and she tells us to go sit back down because we're gonna talk later. I'm happy, like I'm confused, but I'm happy, so we go sit back down. About an hour later, everyone clears out, and she leads us down this hallway. This hallway had like a lot of alcoves and like rooms that I never got to go in, which sounds sketchy, but this room in particular had like a runway in it. And I know that sounds dramatic, but the runway was not. It was about a foot off the ground and was like covered in like these tassels. Those things you can put in like a doorway for like a birthday party or something, like things that hang down like that, but it was like on the side. It looked very cheap, but I didn't realize that when I was walking on it. So soon enough, she has me walk up and down this runway doing random poses, and I feel like an idiot, but like all the while she's telling me that I'm a natural. After I'm done, she sits me down and she says that I'm gonna be awesome and that they can put me like in a girly style or a punk rock style, basically saying that I'm like a really versatile model, and this makes me really excited. Soon enough, my mom calls my dad to let him know that I'm interested. Somehow my siblings get roped into this. And now we're all locked into a legally binding contract entailing us forking over thousands of dollars. Back then, I wasn't told how much it costs, and now, though I'm curious, I kind of don't want to know. So we're gonna fast forward a few months. Things are a little quiet, but I shrug it off. In my head, I'm thinking, this is fine because this is what an agency does. They go quiet because they're out there looking for jobs for you, they're very busy. So basically, instead of them scouting out things for us, instead of them contacting photographers and clients, like a good agency is supposed to do, they just tell us to look on Facebook. And they only posted once every 3 months for things you could easily Google yourself, like for Disney casting calls and local events. So a few months into this fiasco, after hearing nothing, we're randomly told that we need headshots. And if you don't know, headshots are photos that potential clients look at when they're looking at your profile, when they're trying to see if you're a good fit for their job. Now it's a little weird that even though this is the first thing we're supposed to do, they have us do it after 4 or 5 months of us being in their agency. In reality, it should have happened the first or second week we were with them, but whatever. The woman who took our headshots was really nice. She complimented us while we were taking our photos, this is our first ever gig. It wasn't really a gig. We were nervous, we didn't know what to do, but she was very helpful and suggested poses and everything. I remember the last conversation I had with her, she was saying that we did really well and that she was excited for us to work with her again. Until the agency calls us. And they say we need more headshots. But whatever, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're going for a different theme here, maybe a different location. That's fine. And I'm really excited to work with this woman again. Until I find out that she no longer works for the company. Basically, she quit. We were never really given a reason. We were basically led to believe that she just left them high and dry randomly, but in my head, and I still believe this, she left them because she wasn't finding any clients. And probably because the whole place is shady as f. So a few more months fly by and literally nothing happens until we're told we're going to be in a commercial. Now that's pretty awesome and really random. We were all really excited, and then we find out it's going to be for the company. I mean, it's not terrible, it's still a commercial, but at the end of the day, our only gig is for the company. That's the only thing they were able to put on for us, is us advertising for their company. Let me just give you a rundown of the cast for this commercial because years later, it still manages to crack me up. So you have my siblings and I, an overly enthusiastic buff man about 6 foot tall at least, a set of twin toddlers, and a hysteric elderly woman. Now, I guess these people were arranged to show how diverse their clientele was, how many people they represented. But in reality, it looked like the most awkward mishmash of characters. If you just hit the generate button or whatever on Sims, that's what you would come up with. Basically, we were there for hours redoing this one single shot. Okay, so the camera would pan up and then we would all be sitting here in a line, kind of fanned out. I think I was somewhat in the middle. The toddlers were in the front. The old lady and the man were back here. And the camera panned up and we jumped out and just did this. Jazz hands. For about 30 seconds and in complete silence. I mean, I'm sure I laughed at first, but there was no music whatsoever, to get us by. Just the cameraman watching us and us doing this. I can't even do it right, but you know what I mean. So we were told that it was going to air on local stations, and it never did, and I'm kind of glad it didn't because that would have been embarrassing. But anyways, they lied to us about that, but we eventually got a copy of it mailed to us. But we plop it into the DVD player. I'm excited, and that excitement quickly turns into frustration because you literally see my face for about 3 seconds. We were there for hours, filmed at least 30 seconds of footage, and my face was on there for 3 seconds. Believe it or not, this isn't the end to the madness. It still goes on from here. They did actually book us count 'em, one runway/model walk thing. At this point, my brother was completely out of this. I don't think he wanted to do it from the get-go, but my sister and I stuck it through. The cause for this thing was good. It was for breast cancer awareness. Like, I'm completely like okay with that. But the actual the actual runway thing, oh, God. The thing that got me first was that we had to supply our own clothes. And I don't know if that's a typical runway thing. I've only been on one, but to me, that was just a little odd. Like, I didn't have amazing clothes to showcase on a runway walk. Like, does it look like I own Gucci? No. Like, we got onto this little runway, like, that was in the plaza of this mall, and I showed the 10 people there, like, the best outfit I had in my closet, which was, like, some shirt I got from JCPenney's and, like, jeans. After that, you might be thinking, like, this isn't worth it. This is so stupid. Why don't you just quietly, like, peace out and just never see them again? And honestly, that's what I wanted to do. I was pretty much ashamed, I was mad. But my mom wanted to have the last laugh. After months of calling this place and of them ignoring her, she finally strides in there and raises hell. Of course, the lady who said I was a great fit, like a natural model and everything, wasn't there. She was never there whenever we tried to talk to her. So my mom basically ended up chewing out, like, this one guy who worked there, who I guess handled the financials, and he knew what was up. She basically said that, like, the agency wasn't doing anything to help us. They ripped us off of thousands of dollars, and that we were really disgusted and disappointed. And basically all this guy could say was that he knew, and he couldn't do anything about it. So we walked out of there, and I guess that was it. What pisses me off the most is that, like, they took a dream of mine and kind of stomped all over it. It also makes me mad that we weren't the only people who were scammed. There's been hundreds of people, I'm sure, that have signed up for that agency, and I've not heard a word from them. So I have no clue how the hell they're still standing. I don't know if there's been any lawsuits thrown their way, but I would not be surprised if there are any. I'm just amazed that people can be so greedy and disgusting and somehow sleep at night. But anyways, that's my story. Have you ever been scammed before? Let me know in the comments. If you want to be like these awesome Patreon pals and support me on Patreon, you can do that through the link below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. It means a lot to me. You can like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to. I'm not gonna force you. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and I will see you guys sometime soon. I feel kind of bad for posting this. No, I don't. I don't.